Good evening, everyone. As always, thank you for tuning into the channel. And today, I'm going to at least attempt to beat the Ender Dragon. I don't think I'll get to a point where I can go and grab an Elytra or build a XP farm, which I want to do, but I'll probably save that for next time. But I want to go and beat the dragon so that I can set those two things up for later, because I see all of what I'm doing now as sort of mid-game stuff rather than, the end game, because the end game truly is when you start what's the word I'm trying to say? The automize, I don't think is correct, but I see the late game as when you just completely corrupt the world and turn everything into a massive production factory. So I already know the portal is off this way. I don't know how far it is off this way, and I am not on 1.21 yet because Optifine is not out for that version. But as soon as it is, I will update, and then in the future we can start doing some of the tricky trials stuff. Of course, there's the potential that it changes, how new chunks generate and makes things look kind of ugly, but shouldn't be too terrible, because I have explored at least a decent way through the world at this point. So we are first and foremost going to try and find this portal, and it is about to get dark. So I will set down my bed in just a moment, because I already know the coordinates of where the base is, so I'm not too particular about messing up my spawn. So let's just make sure we're still going the right way. We are. I hope this is not another portal in the middle of the ocean. That would bring me great contempt, I think. And I'm also hoping that when we do get to the dragon, it's not super loud. I don't know if they ever fixed that with the Ender Dragon just being so obnoxiously loud all the time. Because I think it has its own, sound files that don't adhere to the actual hostile mobs. Slider, there's a jungle over there. Okay, let's double check. Okay, we're still going that way. If I was a professional speedrunner, I would know the triangulation trick that they do, where they just hit F3, look 3 directions, and then mathematically just figure it out. Or do some of them still use a calculator? I can't remember if the speedrunning community still lets you just use a calculator or not, because I know they did for a while, and it was a somewhat controversial topic of using a calculator for speedrunning. But I have never been a speedrunner, nor do I think I ever will be, because I am not someone who enjoys min-maxing my experiences. There are some very odd noises going outside right now. I don't know what that was. I'm going to assume that I just hear the neighborhood cats fighting. There was a very odd screeching noise that I just heard. I don't know if you guys picked that up or not, but it was unsettling. It perturbed me, one might say. Did that break, or am I blind? Oh, I think it didn't sound like it broke, but I don't see it. Hold on. Yeah, it's my fault for not keeping an eye on that, but I'm just gonna assume that it broke and that I'm not, in fact, blind. But anyways, yeah. So, I don't know if I've ever mentioned before, and hold on, I am going to go and turn that down, because I feel like that might be a bit distracting. But no, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before, but I am not a min-maxer of any kind. I've just never enjoyed that kind of play style. I'm not a big fan of metas, you know. I feel like that's why I'm sort of losing touch with a lot of competitive games, is that, you know, things like Dota and League and CSGO, and, well, maybe not so much CSGO, because CSGO doesn't change too often, but, like, you know, games like that where they're all just so hyper fixated on metas, and, you know, to be really good, you have to sort of follow the meta. I mean, that's not, you know, obviously that's not, like, completely true, because the best players in the world, you know, they don't care about meta, but I'm not the best player in the world at anything. So it's like when you play a competitive game like that, especially Dota lately, often I feel like when you play games and you pick a hero that isn't very good, it often feels like you're setting your team back, and I have not found that as enjoyable as I used to. But I suppose, you know, every game isn't meant for everybody. But it's a weird perspective change, right? Like, I used to love these sort of games. I used to play, you know, these hyper-focused, fast-paced, kind of, you know, brawly games like that. Not so much like, you know, 1v1 fighter games like Smash Bros. Or, you know, Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. But like these multiplayer things where, you know, you're playing to win. There's a goal, right? And that is to win. And I used to love that. And now, as I get older, I just don't see the appeal to it. I've been playing a lot more single player stuff. I've gone back to some games that I loved from a couple years back that I haven't played in a while, like Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played that game, but I love Horizon. I haven't played, what's the name of the sequel to that? Forbidden West? Something like that. Alright, we've gone past it. Good to know. No, I have not played Forbidden West. I would like to. I'll probably get around to that at some point, maybe during the fall sale coming up in October on Steam. I might pick it up then. I recently played my very first FromSoft game. I played Elden Ring for the very first time a couple weeks ago, and I have to say I did not expect that I would enjoy a game like that based on everything I had ever read about FromSoft games and them being really hard and, you know, like stuff like that. But, and I know that a lot of people say Elden Ring is like one of the easiest of the FromSoft games. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't really care if it is. But I really enjoyed it. And I know it's like, as I understand it, it's quite a divergence from. I'm gonna go into this cave up here and see if I can find the stronghold underneath us. This might be a stupid idea, but that's what I'm gonna do. But I know it's well, as I understand it, of course, like I said, it's not like other FromSoft games, because other FromSoft games are not, you know, open world. They're more, at least I'm told, they're more of like linear dungeons. At least the Dark Souls games, I think. I don't know if like Bloodborne or Sekiro, I think. But I don't know if those follow that formula or not. I haven't played them. Maybe I should. But I was genuinely blown away by Elden Ring, and it's not, you know, my first choice um, for a game. I wouldn't normally play something like Elden Ring, because I've never been like super huge on RPGs. So it's not like I've heard such great things about it for years, and I just kind of put it off because, again, like it's just not really been my kind of thing. But it was impressive, honestly. For the first like 70 hours or so, you know, because I had no idea what I was doing. I've never watched anyone play it. I know very little about it. I've watched a couple lore videos beforehand, but, you know, other than that, I didn't really know what you do in Elden Ring. So I went into it pretty much blind. And the first 70 hours were incredible. But then you get to some of the later areas of the game. Like after you go to, well, even before you go to Crumbling Farum Azula with all the dragons, the enemies start to feel pretty repetitive at that point, and not the bosses. The bosses are still mostly good. There are a couple that I think are a bit much at times, but like just the basic enemies that you fight just feel really like it gets kind of exhausting seeing the same stuff all the time. And then some of the bosses, like, it's not a good many of them, and there are some that I've never fought. But some of the bosses I just do not think are super well designed towards the end of the game. For one thing, and this is kind of nitpicky, it's not like a huge deal, but I got really tired of the sheer number of bosses at the end of the game that have two phases. I think it's like everything you fight after a certain point just has two phases, and that got really annoying really quickly. So I wasn't a huge fan of that, to be honest with you. And I don't know if that's a unique complaint. I don't know if I'm just being picky, but that did really annoy me. That there were just so many bosses with two-phase health bars. And then the one boss that I really dislike, and I know that um, some players of FromSoft games get really sort of gatekeepy and stuff, and um, there there are people who say you'll only beat the game if you do it this way or that way, or whatever, this other just useless nonsense. And I don't care, right? I don't care if people have their own way of saying you should beat the game. That's fine, whatever. But what I don't like is that in the Malekith boss fight, it feels like with Malekith, there is one way to beat him, and then everything else is just you're setting yourself up for failure, right? Like, you can beat him really easily with like a super high strength build and just heavy attack until he staggers. Like, I watched a video about it, and it's like, yeah, you can, like, he doesn't have a lot of health, right? He doesn't have a lot of health. He just has a lot of, bullshit, is the way he's designed, in my opinion. And it's just a really, really annoying fight. But you can just get, like, a giant hammer thing. I don't know what it's called. But you can just get this giant hammer thing. You spam R2, and you kill him in, like, 3 hits. It's like, okay, that's cool, I guess. But, like, why can't I beat him? Well, I mean, it's not why can't I beat him, because eventually I did beat him. It's just, it feels so awful compared to every other boss in the game that I've just been beating with a sword. Because I don't know how magic works in Elden Ring. I haven't explored that. I literally, and maybe I'm diminishing my own experience by falling into this trap of, you can only beat the game this specific way, and nobody wants you to use magic or the mimic tier or anything like that, which is, whatever. But maybe I let myself fall for that, and sort of diminished the experience of fighting some of these bosses with just a sword. So maybe it is my own fault, but I really didn't like Malekith at all. And then the final boss of the game, where did this high go? The final boss of the game is the Elden Beast, and Radagon, I guess, but Radagon's not. Like, I didn't think Radagon was all that special. Like, Radagon was kind of boring. But then the Elden Beast he's just moving so far away all the time. That got pretty annoying too. But the Elden Beast isn't super hard. At least I didn't think it was. I think I may have been a little under damaged, but man, where is this? I lost another eye. I know that one didn't break. I saw it fall, but now I'm down an eye. I still don't know where this thing is. But yeah, the Elden Beast fight was just a pain, because the Elden Beast itself is yikes, Okay, I'm just gonna assume at this point that this thing is over here. I don't have my shovel, so that's a bit of an issue. But the Elden Beast was just annoying. Like, again, I don't know if I'm just being nitpicky about this, but like, I think Elden Ring is at its best in like the mid game. Like, when you're fighting stuff like the Ancestral Spirit and Radahn, which, I mean, I don't know if this is like specifically mid game, but like Ancestral Spirit, Radahn, Morgott. Morgott was a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoyed Morgott. I really enjoyed Radahn too. Radahn's a great fight. but like stuff like that, right? And I didn't pay attention to what level I was or anything like that, so I have no idea if I'm just talking out of my ass here when I say this is mid-game stuff. But hopefully, those of you who have played Elden Ring know what I'm talking about when I mention, these middle tier bosses, like when you get to Crumbling, like honestly, Crumbling Farum Azula is like where I think the game starts to feel like unpolished and maybe it needed more time. Because like, that place specifically just feels like it's got, the least variety of enemies. Oh, here it is. And, all this other stuff that, again, might be nitpicky. I understand that. But, like, when you get to that point in the game with Crumbling Farum Azula, it just feels... Oh, I already had 3 in here. Nice. No, it doesn't feel as good. It doesn't feel as rewarding. I guess it feels like I don't think it gets significantly more difficult. It definitely gets more difficult, but it I don't know. It's hard to explain how I feel about it, I guess. Because it just feels like a different game and not necessarily in a good way. So that is my thoughts on that. But I will play it again. Well, I say play it again, but I will go back and finish some of the other stuff that I didn't get to the first time. For sure. Because I still really enjoy it, and I think when I get to New Game Plus, I'll use some of the other mechanics, like spells and, some of the more fun stuff than just the just the sword, right? Because, again, I might just be diminishing my experience with that, so it's hard to tell. But I don't know if I'll ever, play other FromSoft games. I might check 1 or 2 of them out. I don't know for sure. If you are a FromSoft fan, and, you want to let me know in the comments what you think should be the next logical progression in playing a FromSoft game. I've been told Dark Souls 3 is really good. I've been told Bloodborne is really good. I'd have to find wherever my PlayStation 4 went to play that. But yeah. If you think I should give more FromSoft games a chance, be sure to let me know. I am honestly always looking for new games to play because I feel like the way that games are right now. Do I have this set in peaceful mode? Hold on, I do. Okay, that was an accident. I didn't mean to have it in peaceful mode. But what am I trying to say? I lost my train of thought there. I know you can slip this in. Oh, there. There we go. But yeah, I'm always on the lookout for new games to play just because, again, I feel like gaming in general right now is in a really weird spot. I know in one of my previous videos after the, what was it? Not the Game Awards, but there was some thing. It wasn't Gamescom, because I don't think Gamescom exists anymore. But it was like, the Xbox showcase, the PC game show. That's what it was, but not Summer Playfest, I think it's called. I don't know. One of you will know what I'm talking about, but There were some things there that I was quite intrigued by, like Stalker 2. Of course, I've never played the original Stalker, but that looked interesting. There was this one, like, oh, what was it called? There's something about the Louisiana Bayou and this girl that has like magic powers and rides on a giant frog. Don't remember the name of it. It was like South of Midnight or something, I think was what it was called. That looked really interesting, I can't lie. That one I am very excited to get around to playing. Of course, God of War Ragnarok coming to PC, which I will get because I love the God of War games. It's one of my favorites, actually, is the God of War games. God of War 3 especially, I would spend so much money on a God of War 3 remake if they made one and stopped remastering The Last of Us, which, don't get me wrong, I enjoy The Last of Us. The Last of Us is good. Even with the issues with The Last of Us 2, like, The Last of Us as a whole is good stuff. Oh god. I forgot to set my spawn point back at the portal, which I'm only now just realizing. Is that dead yet up there? Do I have to do this the traditional way? Because I don't want to. I don't trust myself to be able to bucket clutch. But let's see, did I get them all? I think I did. Again, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought there. I was focused on fighting this thing. But no, I would spend so much money on a God of War 3 remaster, but they just keep remaking The Last of Us. It's like, I get it. It's a good game. It's a good series. People like it. It sells really well. But I just don't understand why we need, 3 versions of the original at this point, I think? I don't quote me, but I think we have 3 versions now of the original The Last of Us game. Because there's the original that came out, I think, on the PlayStation 3. I think. And then it got remastered for the PS4, and then was sold as a bundle, I think, with the PS4. And then it got remastered again for PlayStation 5. So that's... And I know they're working on, at least I think, I don't know if this is still true, but I know they were making a remaster of the original Horizon Zero Dawn on PS5, which I also don't think is entirely necessary. Oh god. But yeah, I would pay so much money to have a God of War 3 remaster, because I think God of War 3 came out on the PlayStation 2 for some reason. I want to say I never owned a PlayStation 2. I'm not old enough to have ever owned a PlayStation 2. But I for some reason I want to say God of War 3 came out on the PlayStation 2. I don't know if that's true. I'd have to look it up, but it's been so long. And of course, I haven't played it since I was like 10, 11 years old at a friend's house. Because, again, I didn't have a PlayStation 2. I wasn't allowed to play video games that were rated. Like, even most games rated T for teen. I was not allowed to play for a very long time. Where did the dragon go? Oh, there you are. But yeah, so things like Call of Duty, Halo, God of War, I was just not allowed to play as a youth. And I still haven't played Halo to this day. But again, that's another game that I've heard is really good and just haven't gotten around to, kind of like Elden Ring. That, you know, maybe I should get around to, especially because I think Halo is on PC now. Like, I think I can just go buy it on Steam. I don't know for certain, but I think that's true. But, anyways. Oh god. Hold on. I gotta stop holding torches in my offhand. But no, like I was saying before I went on a tangent there, games just feel so weird. Like, there's so many AAA titles that have flopped. And like some of them were obvious, right? Like that Suicide Squad game, that was so obviously gonna flop. Like, I was excited for that game. I can't lie to you, because I like DC Comics a lot, and I think there's some really interesting characters in the Suicide Squad. But the second they mentioned that was a online-only live service title, I immediately went, nope, that will not last. So that it was a bit disappointing because again, I love DC Comics, especially the Justice League Dark series with Constantine, Zatanna, Etrigan, Swamp Thing, Jason Blood, that kind of stuff. I love those stories; they're great. But yeah, that Suicide Squad game was horrible in like every conceivable way. That was not a good game, and people knew it. So, all right, let's see. Where is the Okay, I have things on me, so I guess I'm not looking for the outer end today. I am going to leave. Anyway, I hope you found this video at least somewhat enjoyable, somewhat relaxing, as I rambled about video games for the majority of that time. But I am currently in progress of working on some more interesting videos. At least I think they're really interesting, and I think you're going to like them a lot. It's just I'm learning, this new editing software, and it's taking more time than I thought it would, but they are in progress, I can safely say that. And I hope to get those out to you soon. If not, you can expect the usual content that I make. I appreciate all of your support incredibly, immensely. Just it means the world to see that you enjoy my stuff, and I hope to speak with you all again soon. Goodbye for now.